Okay everybody, welcome back to another AutoCAD tutorial. Today we're going to be creating a fidget spinner in AutoCAD 3D. To get things started here, I'm going to go up to the top of my screen, which is currently cut off, but hopefully that will allow you to see it. And I'm going to set up my drawing utilities. So again, we go under that AutoCAD icon and we're going to go down to drawing utilities and units in this case. For this one, we're going to be working in millimeters, as our bearings that we're going to be getting as our additional parts are sized in millimeters. Once that's selected, I'm going to press OK, and I'm free to begin my drawing. For this one, I find it easiest to start in the 2D view, so I will use my view cube here at the top right to orient myself at a top view. And I'm going to be starting with some basic shapes. The first of which is going to be a circle, and I'm going to choose to use the diameter rather than the radius, so make sure that you are set to circle with center, comma, diameter. Once that's done, I'm going to start my first point at the middle of my drawing space, which is 0, 0, enter that into my coordinate bar and press enter. Now the diameter of these bearings that we're going to be using are 22 millimeters, so I'm going to type in 22 right there, and hopefully that's going to allow me to get a nice tight fit on the bearing once it's ready to be installed. Scroll out a little bit there and I can see the first circle that we have. For this one, I'm going to start off with another circle. I'm going to anchor this on the center point. So if I pan over this circle, I can see the little green indicator illuminated at the center. If I click that, I can do another circle with diameter. For this one, I'm going to go 32, and that's going to give me a 5 millimeter offset on either side. I just feel that that is going to be enough kind of meat to hold this bearing and everything in place. I think for this one we're going to start with yet another circle, but I'm going to go back to our line. So either at the top left there or typing L onto our keyboard, I can originate a line. I'm going to come from the center and I'm going to intersect it with that outer circle there. From there to this intersection. Now I can copy this. I'm going to grab it from this bottom point and move it to the top point. Okay, from here I'm going to use the array command. So array on our toolbar is right here. I'm going to type it into my keyboard and choose array. Now I'm going to make an array of this object here. I'm going to create a polar array around the center of my inner circle. Now I can choose how many items that are around this circle, the distance between them, the total amount of degrees to fill. So currently it's 360 or the full circle, and a number of other options. It's just a nice happy accident right now that we have 6, and we're going to choose to keep the 6 here. So I'm going to hit enter to get out of that command, hit escape a few times just to make sure that everything is what I want, and I can see that array. So all 6 of those circles around my inner one are one object. Now I'm going to use the explode command, so by typing X onto my keyboard, and I'm going to just separate this array into individual parts. So you can see now that when I go over the circle, just one circle at a time is illuminated, not the entire array. Okay, now I'm going to use the break command by typing BR onto my keyboard, and I'm going to start trimming these up. So if I select this circle, I want to trim it at this point. Now I can see that almost all of that circle is going to disappear if I trim it there. So I'm going to actually trim it here on the other side at that intersection. Okay, and that's going to leave me with a bit of a extra here. So I can just actually grab the end of this line bring it to that intersection, and I have a nice little arc here. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that a few times. Again, that's break. I'm going to break up this circle here at this intersection this time. And since there's a lot left on that, I'm actually going to break it again at that intersection, leaving me with this little piece here that I no longer need. Back down to our bottom circle, we're going to do that one more time at the intersection, again, quite a bit, so I'm going to use the break command yet again. Trim it to that intersection and get rid of this other piece that I don't need. And you guys can see that we're starting to get the shape of a fidget spinner here. So I'm going to delete this circle because that was just for the purpose of layout to make sure that I had at least 5 millimeters around. And now I have my basic shape coming together. So I am going to also break these inner circles and just make everything a little bit smoother. So break, grab this one at the inner, oops, not that way. As you can see there, most of my circle disappeared. I'm going to select that, break it at that intersection or endpoint. Again, do the other side, and now a nice smooth shape. Now I have some layout lines there that I no longer need. I'll be getting rid of those and repeating this break process on my other pieces. And there we go. So here I have 3 radiuses, everything coming together, and the basic shape of my fidget spinner has been formed. I'm not going to use a bunch of bearings, so often designs will have a bearing in the center that it rotates around and then bearings on the outside. This design would lend itself well to that, but we're actually going to go, oops, we had a little mishap here, fix that up. We're actually going to go ahead and measure this out for some bulk nuts that I have on hand. So these, if I measure across, are, let's say 17 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to create another circle diameter, and I can still find the center of these even though they're not circles, and I'm going to put 17 as my diameter, like so, and another one up here. And again, we could just be copying these if we so choose, whichever you think is going to be easier. So if I pan over the edge of that circle, center comes up for me. Now I'm going to go to my shapes, and I'm actually going to choose polygon. When I select the polygon, it's going to ask me how many sides. Now there's 6 on a standard hexagon or nut, so I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to go off the center here. It gives me the option for inscribed in the circle. That is what I'm going for. And if I just click that to the outside, I can see a nice hexagon in the middle of that. Again, I can choose to copy or I can redraw these. It does not matter, but I'm just going to grab that and then from the center to the center, put these all around the outside. Once that's done, I can get rid of these circles. I will no longer be needing them. And I have my 2D shape. From here, I guess we could also do our thumb supports that are going to go in the inner part of the bearing. So for those, we're just going to do a circle. Let's say, just looking at my thing here, oh, 27, 20, 28 seems to look good if I'm looking at my number there. It leaves a little bit of room to the outside. We could do 32 again and it would fit over completely. You know what, I'm going to go for 32. You can do what you wish, and I'm just going to move that to an alternate space. Whoops. Move, flat center. I'm just going to put it right over here. Now the inner part of the bearing is actually 8 millimeters. So I'm going to just click there, 8 millimeters, there we go. Now, the two objects that I'm going to need for this print are now here in front of me in 2D. Time to start working in 3D. So I'm going to change my view cube to a 3D view. I'm going to go under my 3D tools. Reminder, if you don't have that displayed, you can right click this and you can show tabs 3D tools. And I'm going to extrude these objects. So, oops, pardon me, I'm going to join these objects so that they can be extruded together. So these individual lines and circles that we had from our original array, I'm going to select them all, join them together, and now I can extrude this piece up 5 millimeters. 5, let's go 10. I believe our bearings are 7 or 8 millimeters thick. So I'm gonna go 10 just so I know that the bearing is gonna be seated inside of there. So this is in realistic. I'm also gonna extrude this one here, and this one I'm just gonna go 3 millimeters because it doesn't need to be very thick. So extrude this, yes, 3, enter. Okay, now all my layout lines have disappeared because I'm working in the realistic mode. If I pan over to my view cube, I can see them there on bottom. But we're going to switch this over to X-ray, which is my preferred view. Now I could see them whichever way I'm looking at it, so top or bottom. And I'm actually going to use this press pull command to create some holes in this piece so that I can fit my other pieces in. So press pull, click the bounded area, pull it through the top, and it creates a hole. Now, I don't actually want a hole on that little one, but I do want all these inside